Well, folks, it's that time. Welcome in for one last blast overtime here to round out the spring groups. And the bad news is one of the teams that played tonight has had to suffer a heartbreaking loss. But the good news is he's back. We got Dev1Ce joining us for the what we'll call the season finale. Yeah, still some fans in the building. Mahone, our wonderful co-host here, to talk about a few things. When's the last time you've done an interview like this? It must be like 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It's like at least a year, right?
Yeah.
So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
As a winner as well.
Yeah. As a
I heard you had a lot of not winners.
Yes.
Here, so that's good.
That's
good
a nice way to
vibes.
put it, yeah.
But yeah, it's really good to be back, and I enjoyed this as well. I know Danny a lot from working with him, so.
Oh yeah, right. That's right. On
yeah.
NIP. Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Well, God, Jewel, how was your holidays?
Oh my God, my holidays was long, 1.5 years. No, I'm kidding. It was good. I just spent Christmas with my girlfriend and my family.
Did you have you moved back to Copenhagen? Do you live here?
Yeah, I moved pretty early last year, like in January last year. So it's been 1 year here, and I love it. It's different than Stockholm, but it's pretty nice. I'm just happy to be back. That's what I'm like putting all my energy to.
Dude, I mean, I was like watching demos of yours while you were playing Face It and trying to track your progress over the last year. And then like in July, you were playing like 60 maps a month or something like that. And so I was like, oh, it's happening. Like he's about to come back. And I remember watching like an ancient game where you were like running down mid every round. I was like, okay, he likes the new maps. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, was there like different points in time where you were going to come back, but needed the extra time?
No, actually, I never tried to put a time on it. I worked a lot with a therapist on just in general dealing with stress. Like it's always been my biggest issue is my body doesn't handle stress well. So I'm trying to learn to better that. And I've never really taken time to fix that or try to fix that. So for me, it was more like trying to, like you have that feeling of this is the time and that's how I feel right now. And also why I came back. Also had the thought of, do I even want to like go in this circuit again because it's tough, but being here, it's just giving me all the right emotions and it's really nice. And obviously it's tough and it's stressful, but it's in the good way. And I feel like I've found like a way better life balance now that gives me some peace.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like you've actually had a pretty decent return considering you've been gone for over a year now at this point. And I want to ask, like, when you were playing Face It and stuff like that, like, were you just playing or were you actually like training a little bit, or what was that actually like?
Honestly, it was mostly troll games. Like we have this Danish TeamSpeak where all of the other pros sit, and I actually never talked to that many of those people because I think like in Astralis we didn't play that much Face It, honestly, right? So it was really nice to get to know a lot of the guys from the old Copenhagen Flames and all of the other top pros. Like so, we are like such a strong team that we can just run around, have fun team comps, and win against most teams. But we're on a losing streak right now, so it's getting bad. The team play is kicking in, and it doesn't work on Face It.
I want to say, like these last couple of months, of course, towards the end of the year, you played some tournaments, but online events. So this is like your return to LAN as well. And this match must have been a nice stress test.
Yeah, it is. It was definitely like, honestly, on the CT on Ancient, it's a tough map to play. We knew they were going to A-execute like they did all the time, and they have like this little jiggle jump for my AWP angle, and they close off all other angles, and I'm like, fuck, how am I going to deal with that? And I know that they weren't going to go B that often because I played a lot on B against, who was it? I can't even remember. The last game before that. NIP.
Yeah.
So it was a bit annoying that I couldn't really control the game as I wanted, and it was a good stress test and like trying to find the impact, trying to help the team comps. Yeah. Was mostly what I try to do when I can't like get the good shots in, and then on the T side, I do think that we did really well on getting the openings and stressing the map. It's a really tough map to play now because you can't get mid control, you rarely get cheater control. You can't like really push A. It's a bit weird like how they made the spawn. It's like so deep.
Yeah.
And it was a lot on like trying to figure that out. It's hard mid game. It's a stress test, as you said, and honestly, we could have closed that game many ways. Also in the last 15-14 where they have 2K and they just do like this heroic A split. And I mean, it's like losing a round like that really is hard on the team spirit because like they got full reset in the end of the game. So I'm happy to be here as well.
Survived it all. Yeah. That T side was interesting, right? We actually, so we know Dev1Ce as an opper most accomplished player of all time. But do you know him as an IGL? Because we have a clip where he actually had a heavy hand in the mid-round situations as a caller. Do you remember that?
Maybe on which map? On which
It was
map?
on Inferno. You remember?
Okay, yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
So maybe the second round or something like that. I think if I die early, I always try to help people out. That's how I reset mentally. If you die early, you lose an entry. You always stay in the game by just resetting and just being the eye in the sky.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we got that round right here now.
Let's take a listen.
Let's take a listen.
Halvtaget står bare på vinkel.
Jeg muller under halvtaget.
Der er et HP. Udspyt web. Jeg tror ikke, jeg får echoen.
Der ligger en smoke her.
Få lige Bobby, få lige lagt en flash, når vi tager midten her. Smuk booling flashes, det er det eneste Nate har.
Ligger bare
Jeg kommer med noget kost.
Ja.
Og flash halvtag? Ja.
Vent lidt.
Kom op med og flasher nu her. Kom bare.
Jeg flasher her. Flasher.
Smoke her. Yep. Vi har en smoke til lille grav.
Under halvtag.
Under halvtag. Og en boom skyder igennem smoken.
Smoke er så.
Han er måske stadig tæt. Kan I køre på boomen her, mates?
Ja, kør på boomen, boys. Hold lige plan.
Listet. Ja. Lidt syg her, eller ham til første.
Der kommer til at sidde en i CT. Der kommer til at sidde en i CT.
Okay.
One way smoke B.
Ja. Du er alene, Luke, her. Du kan godt spille meget tid. 28 sek.
Tæt. Lyt det der. Kun en B.
Nice.
Ja.
B. Jeg lister på B nu her.
Ja, så bare rush 20 sek, men ja. Nice, du blandet.
Bagom nok.
Nexa plejer at holde bag.
Nice det der.
Banan.
En banan.
En spawn, en banan.
Jeg hørte en spawn.
Ja, sidste spawn.
Jeg spiller.
Tid.
Jeg spiller tid også.
Er Glass sigte for dig?
Ja, vi har flash. Flash over siden har en def for Luke.
Ja, men jeg ved ikke. Det er ikke sikkert, han kommer midt på her.
Så gemt. Han kan godt læse lidt ud på mig.
Det kan han ikke. Sindssygt.
Nice det der, boys. Hvor du vil, Ben. Sindssygt det der.
Godt snakket, godt kørt.
Jeg spiller, boys.
Great communication from you.
You're basically like a coach who can talk the whole time.
Yeah, that's like being the coaches in the online era.
Yeah.
Nah, that was good. I also do think if Neofrag just let his keyboard and mouse go on CT, we would have lost the round. But that's how it is sometimes with the whole thing. But yeah, as I said, it's mostly when you die, you have the overview, you know how to manipulate the map a bit more, and yeah, I think we try everyone to do that in our team, and it really worked that game.
In 2018, like when you guys were playing, did you call like that or?
Yeah, I do think at least in IP.
You definitely did it in IP. I remember this.
So it's something that we trained a lot, and it is, as I said, is a really good reset function for players because CS is a frustrating game. You can get timed, you can lose duels, and you can just retract yourself from that situation by helping your team, and then the tilt goes away. So that's also how I see it.
One of the things Glaive said about you was that an underrated aspect of Dev1Ce was that he always knew how much money the opponents had. Is that true?
Yeah, I always also call the money every time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so that last round you had actually against OG, it was a 4K from you. It's a really nice round. And actually, let's pull it up right now. Let's just take a look at what that round was. I was able to get the POV real quick here. So first, it starts off with you kind of working this ramp area.
Yeah, we had a wall bang here,
Yeah, you guys did the wall bang here to kind of get this guy out. Was that the intention?
No. But, we knew that the orb was not going to post. We didn't see him. So I was just going to post. They had to get information at one point. And I kind of saw the flash. And I just knew I can try to stress the map here.
Yeah. So this angle here, I want to ask you about this.
No, I didn't know.
Didn't know about this?
Oh, really?
You don't know about this?
I didn't know about
I knew the angle, but I didn't know he was sitting there. But you don't really clear it because it's an off angle.
No, I'm talking about this angle here where you're actually looking through the pixel. Yeah.
I played it a little bit as CT as well. It's a really nice creep angle because people slow walk into it, so you can get easy shots.
No, but just to clarify, that angle goes right through to cave, the other side. Yeah.
You can sit as CT and hold banana as well.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, when I was casting this, was there anything else that you want to bring up about this?
No. Continue.
So when I was casting this, I was saying that I know what OG are going to try to do. They're going to try to pop A every round, and they've done it versus everybody. And at first, it was just you on that close angle, so the flashes go high, whatever. And then you started to play with multiple players there, but they're still getting those entries. So what is going on there? Is it because the setup could have been better, or because the shots weren't hit?
I think you have to. It's still very hard to hold that, especially as the AWPer, because what they do with the close money C angle is they kind of jiggle it really good with a strafe jump. So we talked about it after the game. I don't want to give away too much, but we do have a fix for next time.
Okay.
It's very hard when you don't have the timeouts to actually just like talk it through, because the money gets stressful. You need to control that. You need to have like a good overview. But we knew they were gonna do it. I actually also saw that jiggle jump in the demos, but they smoke everything. They molly behind big box, so you can't stand anywhere. And honestly, something we could probably have done we didn't talk about was like just play for Temple and Donut, because there's no positions they can play. But yeah.
Well, you were onto something, or they were onto something good with that, and they had something going. What is going on with on both sides? With it was you and OG on the T side. There are so little like full B splits like with cave control. I feel like that's really fallen out of meta. Is there a big reason for that?
Everything is like you manipulate the map so much you don't need to do it. Okay. Honestly, like mid as T, you do the A split smoke in CT. Then the map is chaos. From there, you kind of like play the heroic style where you just have heavy lurks that hold the pushes, and then you just manipulate the map and try to get like activate the lurks around the map and play the chaos. I think that's the best way the meta works right now, because the Ts can't do anything or the CTs can't do anything in middle, and like B is the only place they can actually just like sit and use their utility, I feel like. Right.
Sorry, I realized you derailed there completely. I thought you were talking about something in the clip, but we're not done yet, because he still gets another 3 kills, I think.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So back to this clip here. So yeah, that's a cool detail that you have here. Now, when you kind of come up here, are you aware that there's another guy who could be towards that left side there, or what are you planning on doing with your team here?
I knew that one guy was going to be right side, and I was trying to hold. Now you can just hold if the guy rotates to B. You see the AWP, then I'm sure, okay, it's certainly not an AWP B.
Yeah.
So at that point, you just have to go search. That was just good.
These are just some nice shots.
Flames could have killed me there, but it was also good. Like the AWP is really good at like strafe scoping right now. It's also the meta when you play T.
Yeah.
And yeah, at that point, we knew the AWP was going to come.
All the way around.
All the way around. I think we hear him at some point scoping or something like that, and then Zip has like a really good angle as well.
Yeah. One question here, like when you're up this ramp position, it can be rather uncomfortable, right? Especially since you have an AWP. After your 2 teammates died here, was there any sort of calm, or did you just kind of say, I need to make a play here?
Mostly you need to make a play, but when the team speed activates, you see the AWP getting a kill, you see like teammates dying. It's kind of where like stuff happens right now in the meta. It's like where you need to. This is where the round ends. It's because they are communicating to their teammates and maybe getting a little bit distracted. So it's just like an activation like point for the map. And then it was also really good. I think we could also have traded ourselves out of that situation.
So I got one question. Since the last time you really played was back on NIP, what was the difference really, looking back now? What's the difference between your time in NIP, which is Swedish CS, compared to Astralis, which is much more Danish CS? How would you describe the differences?
It's hard. I do think like all the teams follow the meta. NIP don't play the chaos as much. We knew that when we were gonna play against them as well. Like they don't play, they haven't adapted to that, or they don't want to play that certain CS now, and we didn't do it back then because it wasn't meta. I do think Hampus is like probably the best player to play in the chaos. Like honestly, he's one of the best guys I've played with, and he's a really nice guy, and he understands like when something happens, how do you activate? So they definitely can learn that when he comes back, and if they want to play that style, it's very like IGL based, and I would say that's the biggest difference.
Would you say there's anything that you kind of learned at your time at NIP that you've carried forward now?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I learned a lot of stuff about myself. I also do think that like the AWP right now is in a meta where you throw a lot of flashbangs and grenades. I did that in NIP as well. But it's also, you need to have moves on every certain map on the T side as well. Otherwise, you're just like a dedicated flash thrower, and the weapon is too expensive for that. So that's one thing I learned, is looking more at not the whole map, but just at me. Like, what do I need as an AWPer to get openings? That's the most important aspect, I do think. I would say that's mostly it. And I learned a lot in NIP on how to practice, how to schedule practice, how to. It was actually a big learning, like big difference practicing and also talking about practices and like what we're doing it was really good. And,
I can't reveal too much.
What'd you learn from NIP, Mahone?
No, I can't answer that either. That's top secret information that only me and Dev1Ce know.
Yeah.
But we got one more clip here that we want to make sure we get through this. And one of the biggest highlights that you had before you kind of, I guess before COVID and everything, was this NRG round.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about this. Obviously, you remember this round. But for people who don't, there's some people who only started recently watching CS, so they may not even know your name, actually.
Yeah, that's
as weird
true.
as that sounds.
I'm a new player. I'm a talented young guy.
His name is Devi, and he only goes by Devi.
I tried that once.
Yeah.
It is. This round was really a really important round because they actually won against us in the group stage, and they were the favorites. They also beat us in a previous tournament this year. And I do think they had a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
But at this point, it was like a B execute. I was spotted heaven. Everything was chaos. I tried to sneak back, and these kind of things rarely happen. There's no way.
That's why they deserve graffitis, Dev1Ce. That's why.
Yeah. I can't say that. But hopefully, if Train comes back, it was my favorite map.
Yeah.
Something can come there.
Yeah, Train is one of those maps where it's like, after you haven't seen it for a while, when you see it again, you're just like, wow, I actually miss a lot of the aspects of it,
Especially in how CS is played now with all of the chaos. Train would be so fun to play, and there's so many opportunities on manipulating the map.
Mm-hmm. Before we let you go, a couple more questions here. What can you say about Buzz? Because he was so good on that third map, and you could see it on the pistol rounds. It was like the low util rounds. He would shine. His aim was there. But on Ancient throughout, he did so many good things. Obviously, he's new to the team. He's playing with a lot of legends. He's probably pretty nervous, but he started to open up. What changed?
Honestly, he's really good. I played with him in FACEIT since March last year, so I know him very well. And he hasn't shown, he's shown glimpses of what he's capable of, but it just takes time to transition into Tier 1 CS. I do think when you look at the games we've played as well, people have been focusing on him and trying to abuse him, and I do think that plays a part in how the mind works. So for him, it's just about getting more tournaments in, getting more maps in, being aggressive, doing his moves, because he's as you said, mechanically very gifted, and he's also communicative very gifted. He is exactly like what we've always wanted in Astralis.
We can actually prove that because we got a team scoop clip from Buzz to show off his comms.
En cheater.
Kan vi tage bare? Kan vi smoke pop?
Ingen nades.
En mere cheater.
En pop.
Jeg prøver at skyde nogen her.
To pop.
Ved pop. Det er let. Jeg holder langt lige nu. Jeg kan holde backline. Jeg prøver.
Kort nu.
Side.
Kort nu.
Ja, stille. En mere. Helt frem.
Kort. Meget kort.
En mere.
til.
AB også. Venstre om Dilo.
Helt frem. AB.
AB tid. Okay, kid.
Nej! Sygt, boss! Bobby, man!
Nej,
det er ikke
Got a new Bubby. Man, the way he played that last 1v1 too, so much confidence, didn't duck into the smoke and try to play time, hard angle on Dexter.
It's mechanical skill, but also what he does there, something I'm really bad at, is when you're actually playing the situation, communicating as well, what you're doing.
Yeah.
He's really good at that.
So we've got one last question from Blast TV submitted. Thank you guys for being here the whole week and submitting questions. And the question is, since your break has taken place, what's something that you've noticed has changed about CS that you had to catch up on? That was, I guess there's obviously going to be a few things, but what's the thing that stands out the most?
Oof, that's a tough question. The meta changed a lot. The teams, what they're good at, almost all teams try to do the same thing. I don't think the styles are too different right now. The only team I can really say that I do think is different is Outsiders. They've tried to counter the style that is, but that's one thing. Other than that, it's just that people are getting way better individually, and that's also why I do feel like I'm mechanically getting better and better, but everyone else are just also raising the ceiling. I don't think people are getting, like, some of the people that look worse now haven't gotten worse. I just think that because people train 10 to 12 hours a day, like, everyone's getting better, and you have to keep up with that.
Well, Dev1Ce, it was so nice to have you here tonight. Don't want to take up too much
My
of your time.
pleasure.
There's almost 100 rounds or more to close that out. Congrats on qualifying to Washington. That's a great first success. Coming back into the groups, we have them here on LAN. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this week of spring groups to kick off the year. We got Dev1Ce back. We got amazing CS to watch, and it's only just starting now. So thanks for joining us on Overtime. To everybody at home, good night.